Hi, Sonia Beatriz here with Positive Direction, the Wholeness Center. So the reason for this video is to talk about, sorry about the motorization in the background. I'm right on the side of the highway. I did this video earlier while I was driving, which wasn't bad. It was rush hour traffic, so it was really slow. But there were some things that I didn't have available to me, which I have now, so that's why I'm doing this video again. Anyway, so I want to talk to you about my psychic readings. The reason I do that is because it's not just all psychic. That's just a common word that people like to use that they understand, so that's why I use that word. But I'll just kind of give you the run through of what a reading is like. So first thing, obviously you want to set an appointment, so you want to text me and say, hey, what's your availability for this week, or are you available on such a day? I'll always ask for days and times because my schedule is very flexible. I'm usually available from 10 to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I usually will try to meet you on a time frame that's good for you. I run anywhere, my sessions run anywhere from 15 minutes and 15-minute increments, from 15, 30, 45 to 60 minutes. So that's the amount of time that I'm actually going to read for you. And so all you got to let me know is when you're available, how long of a session you want, and we'll go from there. So my prices are on my website. They're very doable. Also, before I get started on this, if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know about this, this is weird, or I don't trust it, or what if there's no connection, then I always recommend, and this is really, really cool because I have this platform, is every Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30 at the local bar downtown, I do free psychic readings. It's called Psychic Happy Hour. So if you're interested, head on over to that. Check it out. It's a mini 5-minute reading, but it's still a lot of information comes through there. I do have some regulars. There's a sign-up sheet. And depending on what I have going on afterwards, I'll stay to read for everybody. But if I have to go, then I have to go, and I'll be out of there by 8:30. But that's a good way to find out if we're, sorry about that, if we're a good match. So just thought I'd throw that out there. So anyway, this happens at a 5-minute reading. This happens at an hour reading. This is my process. So the first thing that I ask after setting the appointment is not to give me any information. I don't want to know what you want to know. I don't want to know what topic we're talking about. I don't want to know what you're dealing with. And the reason for that is when we're in the reading, I don't want you to feel like I'm cold reading you or I'm giving you information based off of what you tell me. I want you to know that the information that I get is purely intuitive, purely coming through means that have nothing to do with input that you've given me. Another thing is, unless I already know you, if I don't know you, I will ask for your last name at the time of the reading, because I don't want you to think that I'm Googling you or I'm on your Facebook or blah, blah, blah. If you got referred to me from someone, you can say my friend referred you, or I heard about you through someone. I don't want to know who they are either, because I don't want you to think that I'm contacting that person and asking them for information or going through their friends list and blah, 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 blah. So the least information possible, the better. This is just to help to validate the information that I'm giving you. I don't want you to have any reason to doubt or to question. Sorry about all the movement. I'm really trying to balance this. I'm not good at videos, and I'm kind of rigging the setup here on my phone. So I don't want you to think that I'm in any way searching for what I'm going to be telling you, other than through the spiritual connection that I have. So that's the beginning. So we'll sit down, I'll ask your name, and what I'll do is this really cool crystal. It's called selenite. You see how it has those little lines on there? I love this. This goes with me everywhere. This gives me access to your information. So when I hear your name, let's say it's me, Sonia Beatriz, you'll notice that, or some people maybe don't notice and notice it now that I'm doing this. I'll say your name and I'll say Sonia Beatriz. So this kind of opens up doors for me to connect to your information. This kind of is like my permission, like, okay, we're going to tap into so-and-so. So I'll use this crystal with me. And then the next thing that I'll do is I'll have you shuffle the cards in a weird kind of way. Right now, depending on the size of amount of reading that you're going to have, I will have you make like 5 stacks, because they're a little bit large, these decks. They're kind of big, so they're really hard to shuffle, especially if you have little hands. Like, I tend to think I have man hands, so I can do it, but it's kind of stretching it there. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll have you make 5 different stacks and then put them back together. And the reason that I do that, there's a method to my madness, is what I learned through my studies, because I studied for a long time, is that every card in every deck are basic things that happen in everybody's life. We have love, we have heartache, we have hope, we have beginnings, we have endings, we have trouble, and everything in between. We have certain people coming into our lives that are impactful, everything. So when you put them in a certain order, this is basically the order of your life, okay? And then with palmistry, from what I understand, your dominant hand is where you are now, everything up to date. Your non-dominant hand is your like blueprint, past, present, and future. So what I'll do is I'll ask you to get your non-dominant hand and cut the deck. And so where we're starting at is very present, either recent past, now, or very soon to be future. So that's the next thing that I'll do. Then I will gather the cards for myself and I'll put them in a spread that, for me, I don't do any traditional tarot spread. I do what I call the pyramid spread. And basically I just make, depending on how long your reading is, I'll do 4 rows of 4 or 5 rows of 5, just depends. Sometimes I'm led to do something different, but that's average. And then I'll hand you this stone. This is a beautiful stone. It's called labradorite. Do you see that shimmer on there? A few of these have walked away, I think because they're so beautiful, and they're very ergonomic, so you just have to hold on to it. Any hand is fine, and I'll tell you that, because a lot of people are like, which hand? And I'm like, whatever, just relax. So that's the only thing you need to do during your reading, is just have this on your person. You can put it on your lap, put it on your leg, play with it, fidget, whatever. You can take notes if you want. I do allow you to record them. So a lot of people come in with their phones and they record them. I used to record them for people and then send them via email, but I'm not really good at that. I'm about as good at that as I am as answering my phone, which is like 0. So I do allow you to phone record them. Sometimes I'll phone record them and then send you a link on Dropbox. But anyway, so what I'll do is just start reading. So let me go back. Let me tell you why I have you hold this crystal. So labradorite, what it does, its energetic influence is it raises your energy vibration. So the way that I understand energy vibration is, we as humans are a dense, very 3-dimensional, physical, like a table. The molecules are very, very slow. Okay. Our spiritual entourage, our angels, our guides, our people who help us from the other side, ancestors, whoever's here to help you, they are at a higher frequency, so their energy vibration is very, very fast. So when we hold on to a crystal that raises our energy frequency, ours gets faster and allows them to kind of slow down, so that we have this space of connection. Another way that we do that is the crystal allows us to really clear our mind. That communication is like meditation. Meditation is basically a form of communication with our spiritual entourage. And when your intention, when you go to a reading and you're like, okay, I want to hear what's coming, you're not thinking about dinner, you're not thinking about lunch, you're not thinking about bills, you're thinking about the questions that you have and wondering what the information is that you're going to get. So this is kind of a form of meditation where you are set in a sacred space. The office that I have available is also sacred space, but if I go to you, which I do also, depending on where you are, when I arrive and I set up my crystals, that's creating sacred space, so that we're not opening ourselves to any other weird or funky lower vibration energies. So I don't mess with that. I don't deal with that. I've worked through that stuff. That's on another video. But anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. I only work with higher vibration energies, guides, angels, ancestors, anything that's going to uplift you, help you, edify you, and give you more of what you need to move forward in your journey here on earth. So that being said, I also will hold on to a stone. It differs depending on what's going on. So right now, this is my crystal. It's called Rainbow Moonstone. It's very, very pretty. And it basically does the same thing for me. It just does it on a clearer level. I can't really explain to you right now why, because I wasn't ready to show you this. So anyway, so I hold on to my crystal too, and then I just basically tell you what I get. So people ask like, well, how do you read the cards? So let me show you a card. Okay, this is a pretty card. Not that they're ugly, but this is very, very pretty. The deck that I use is based off of fractals. It's not like a traditional tarot deck. They're actually very, very beautiful. And I use 3 different decks because I give a lot of information. So I like to use as many as I need for the time frame that I'm going to be with you. Oh, so for instance, that's cool. I opened it up on the same one. This card is regarding mothership, motherhood. So I'm not really reading this card. I like to say it's a radio station. Like if you're from San Antonio, you know 101.1 is an oldie station, and you know 97.3 is a country station. So if I'm tuning into a country station, what country song is on? What country commercial is on? What about country is being given through that radio frequency, right? So this has a frequency about motherhood and mothership. So, or mothering, or parenting. So like this is an all-knowing card, like a knowingness, an understanding, a clear kind of like when you're on top of your game. So if you were to have these 2 together, it's like you know what you're doing as a parent. So don't worry about it. You might question it, you might doubt what you're doing, if you're doing the right thing. But if I get these 2 together, I know that there's a conflict there about what you're doing as a parent. And this is like, you're doing it right. Your kids may not like it, your spouse may not like it, society may not like it, but you know what's best. So that's kind of how I read this. I know what it's about, and I just tap into the information that I'm getting about that particular subject that I'm tapping into. Then after the actual reading, so when you say a 15-minute reading is what you want, I'm going to read the cards for 15 minutes. Sometimes more, because as you see, I'm very talkative. So I have a timer to help me to stop, or to say, okay, it's time to like shut this down. And I'll wait till I do the whole pyramid. So I'll do like my flat spread, and then I'll do another layer and another layer and another layer till I get to that one card. And usually it's really cool how it kind of works out. That last card is usually like, this is what this is all about. We're getting you ready for this, and this whole story that we're telling you is kind of what it feels like as a story. This sorry about that. This whole story that we're telling you is to let you know you're preparing for X, Y, and Z to happen. So after I read for that set amount of time, then I will ask you, and sometimes through the reading I'll say, does this make sense? Does this resonate? But I still try not to get any more information from you. If you want to ask a question during the reading, absolutely you can, but as little information in the question as possible. So if you just want clarity, or you're like, well, I think I know what you're talking about here, can you give me a little bit more information? Yes. But anyway, at the end of the reading, I'll let you actually ask questions if you want. You don't even have to voice them if you don't want to. So this is for you. It is not for me. So you can ask usually up to 3 questions just because of time. I usually will have other clients, so I want to make sure that I can see them starting at the right time, and I try to allow that for everybody. But every now and then I'll go over. It happens. And then I'll answer your questions. Sometimes I use non-tarot cards, kind of like the ink blot kind of cards, to answer your questions. Sometimes I'll use these. Sometimes I don't even need the cards. I'm so connected to you and to this communication that I could just answer like, this is what I'm getting. And you'll hear me say like, I feel this, I sense this, I feel this as you. I tap into your energetic field, your emotional field. I like to say I'm a surrogate, where I tap into your space. I feel you feeling anxious. I feel you being afraid. I feel you feeling so relieved. Like I'll say things like that. Or this is what I see, this is what I sense. Sometimes I'll see pictures of things going on. A lot of times they'll give me memories of myself, and I'm like, oh, so what they're showing me is a time when I was going through this with my daughter. And so basically what they're saying is this and this, and this is basically the essence of that thing. So it's vague enough for me that I don't need to be up in your business and know everything that's going on with you, but it's clear enough that the specific words that Source and Spirit has me use, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. When I do a reading, it's about you having a better experience, you having a little bit more knowledge about what's going on. And a lot of people are like, oh, what if it's bad? What if it's scary stuff? I like to call that my fire alarm memo. If you work a traditional job or have ever worked or been to school and done a fire drill, then you know, when you know it's coming, it's not as scary. When you get that memo and you're like, we're going to have a fire drill this week, or we're going to have a fire drill sometime within the next couple of days, and you hear those alarms, one, you're not all, your stuff's not thrown out, you're kind of prepared mentally, physically sometimes too. So then you hear the alarms and you're like, okay, is that a real one or is that just the drill? And they're like, oh, it's just the drill. Okay, but you still have to go through all the motions as if it was real, right? You got to get up, you got to pack up, you got to get out, you got to do everything that you need to do. When you get a reading and it's not all that great, it's a memo. Hey, something's going to happen. It's not going to be great, but you know what? You're going to survive. And this is why you're learning, because you haven't been listening, or you have a hard time, you need to wake up, or they're trying to show you, like, appreciate what you do have when it is good, or relax, it's really not all that bad. Whatever the case, if it's bad, it's there to help you to survive the bad part. So don't be so afraid of bad or negative information. Interestingly enough, and I'll end on this note, I have worked through so much of my stuff that I usually don't pick up a lot of bad information. On occasion, and it's funny that I go through this, but on occasion, I give so many readings and they're so amazing and so beautiful and so inspiring and so uplifting that I'm like, really, God? Like, is this even real? Am I just blowing smoke up people's rear end? Because it can't all be that good. And I will get those few clients afterwards that are a bit of a mess and has some troublesome spots, and I'm like, oh, okay, just checking. I just needed to validate for myself, because I know life isn't all that great. I know there are hiccups along the way. However, because my energy vibration is on a more than not consistent high vibration level, I don't pick up on that stuff, and I don't attract people that way. So if you're attracted to me, no, number one, you're probably in transition in life. That's usually why people come. Number two, there's a lot of good insight for you to receive. And number three, I guess, would be that you are valued and loved, because that is my number one message to everyone, that life is worth enjoying, that you're not alone. Wherever you are, I've probably been, because I've come from a pretty low space, and you're not in this alone. And that's really my prayer, is to walk with you on this journey and to let you know you're not alone, and you deserve everything amazing in this experience, because that's what it's here for. Like, yeah, there's bad, but that's only to show you how good it is when it's good. And sometimes, a lot of the times, the people that come to see me, they're just getting out of that. So they're in the recuperation mode, like, oh my God, I can't believe I survived. And so they're like, why can't I be happy? It's so good. And it's like, well, because you're adapting. That's okay. You're still like recovering, but I'm going to help you recover. So anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, again, you can reach me on my website, positive-direction.com. There's a way to connect me on there via email, or you can text me at 210-601-0369. I know this was a long video. I apologize for that. But this is what my readings are like. They're long, they're thorough, they're full of information. I can talk, so even a 5-minute free one that you might get at the local bar, you're going to get a lot of information. So I look forward to you watching another video, and hope you have a great day. Namaste. Bye.